Well, what a sad day for Welsh Rugby. Wales are out of the World Cup after losing to Argentina 29 points to 17 in the quarterfinal. I'm absolutely gutted for the lads. Gutted for Welsh Rugby in general. I do believe that this was a very big missed opportunity to progress to the semi-finals and fight for third, fourth place in the world. But at the same time, I am immensely proud to be Welsh, and I'm immensely proud of Welsh Rugby as well, because let's not forget, right? The beginning of this year was an absolute nightmare for Welsh Rugby. Player strikes, financial woes, big defeats. Wales finishing 5th in the Six Nations, losing to Georgia the prior year in November. And then obviously the controversy surrounding the WRU and all that happened there as well. But listen, hats off to Argentina. I don't think anybody truly predicted that outcome. I personally didn't. I thought from the start it was going to be a Northern Hemisphere sweep. But there we go. Argentina, hats off to them, came away with the win. They were able to dig in, disrupt Wales, and eventually, come away with the win. But not without controversy, ladies and gentlemen. So quick little overview. I only watched the first half at home. The second half, I had a rugby game myself, and so I missed snippets, and I was able to catch right before kickoff for my game. I saw the final score, and I was like, "What the fuck happened?" Apologies for the French, for the swearing. But yeah, what the heck happened, right? We were up 17-12, and then bam, out of nowhere. So I needed to rewatch. I didn't even see the second half, so I needed to watch it. But yeah, look. Just before we get into the game, just immensely proud to be Welsh still. I'm excited for the future of Welsh Rugby. Stay tuned for that one. And what's ahead, right? Obviously, Wales taking on the Barbars next month. The URC gets underway, so it'll be good to kind of see what the status quo of Welsh Rugby is given that. And then with obviously the returns of the Welsh players, and see if there's any fight for player positions moving towards the Six Nations. Prior to that, let's just recap the weekend. Obviously, we had Wales, Argentina, Ireland, New Zealand, England, Fiji, and then France, South Africa. Now, I have never at a professional level seen a change of referee, and I've watched a lot of rugby games. Now, this probably happened. I'd imagine it's not uncommon, but it's probably extremely rare. It's only ever happened to me once at the level of rugby that I play at, which is amateur, and it didn't really affect the game per se. It was good though, because if a referee didn't show up, the game would have cancelled and we would have lost at half time. So interesting that happened. I didn't initially see it happen. I did see where Jaco Piper did get hit, but then obviously his calf pulled up a little bit, and I'd imagine that threw things off, but it didn't really change the outcome of the first half. Maybe obviously though the referee would have sort of analysed situations different, maybe not given Argentina the penalties for the Josh Adams incident, for example. Maybe, the controversial incident we'll get onto with regards to Nick Tompkins could have been different, could have been a yellow, and then a penalty to Wales instead. But look, at the end of the first half, Argentina obviously getting awarded back-to-back penalties. Wales were up 10-0 thanks to Dan Biggar's try and the penalty. Back-to-back penalties. Obviously, Argentina crawling their way back in 10-6 after the break, getting 2 additional penalties, taking it 10-12. Wales score through Thomas Williams, 17-12, game on. And that's how it stayed until the 65th minute, with the controversy that I'm about to get into, because Carl Dixon had a big decision to make, which is, and it's controversial to an extent. I don't want to throw this onto the referee, but in other games, right, we have seen scenarios of this nature where that would have been a yellow card. Now, I understand the nature and the situation behind it, but still going in with force to the head with contact from the shoulder would have been a yellow card all day in other games. And it would have gone off field review, bunker, and then it probably would have turned into nothing and it would have just remained a yellow card. But what happened there is that situation happened. They went for the line out. Nick Tompkins, before the line out, having to go off for a HIA. On comes Sam Costello, move him to 10. Dan Biggar at 12, who, yes, can play inside centre, I'm sure. But a little bit unexpected. And then 3 minutes of just Argentinian pressure. And eventually they get over. So that decision probably changed the sway of the game because Argentina then go ahead. And then obviously Wales are chasing a little bit. And as we know, Sam Costello throwing the interception. Look, it was a great set piece move, but it was just a little bit off timing wise. And again, that might just be the inexperience showing a little bit, the continuity. But Sam Costello played a hell of a game in the Georgia game, right? So, look, it happens. It's international rugby. People who are like at the top of the game still throw interceptions. It happens. We can't all blame that on Sam Costello. It is what it is. We could have put that game away earlier, but we didn't. And then obviously getting the penalty at the death and Buffelli just making sure, taking it 3 more points away. So I had to rewatch the second half myself to see what on earth was going on. Disappointed. That's really all I can say from a Welsh fan standpoint. But there's a lot of still, I don't get it, right? Welsh fans are interesting. There's a group on Facebook, and I understand it's probably clickbaity and all that nonsense. But at the end of the day, right, Wales have done a very good job of turning Welsh rugby around in a short period of time through Gatland. We got to the quarterfinals. Okay, yes, we are out of the quarterfinals, but look how far we have come. There's still so much negativity and hate towards the Welsh team, but they're not directly looking at like how Argentina have progressed. They just think, yes, okay, yeah, Wales are one of the fittest teams in the world, and defensively we should have been the best. We've put in the most tackles, but then at the end of the day, a game is a game. A lot can happen on the day. Things didn't go our way, and it is what it is. Wales are out of the quarterfinals, and now we can look forward to what's the future of Welsh rugby in terms of, like I said, Wales v Barbars. The URC is getting underway. The Welsh women get underway in their tournament over in New Zealand. And then obviously we have the Six Nations to look forward to. I'm still going to be putting out content for you guys regarding all that and more. So, like I said, lots of positives can be taken away from that game. In terms of just how far we've come, the development of some players throughout the tournament. We've seen, Nick Tompkins absolutely be an incredible number 12 for us. A lot of people, myself included, was writing Nick Tompkins off, and I much wanted to see, sort of like Johnny Williams or Mason Grady in the centre position instead, but he proved us all wrong, And speaking of that, I wonder the what ifs if we had, say, instead of Rio Dyer on the bench, maybe someone like Mason Grady or Johnny Williams, who could cover sort of the back three, but also centre instead of Rio Dyer, who was the winger. Because I don't know if that would have changed anything, if we brought on someone like, obviously a like-for-like centre instead of Nick Tompkins. Instead of Sam Costello, and then having Biggar to move out, whether we were able to bring on a centre, would that have changed things? Who knows, right? We don't know. That comes down to selection. Again, I'm not the coach, but there we are. Anyway, a lot of people expected us to breeze past Argentina, I think. But here's another thing. People forget that they have beaten the All Blacks recently. When was the last time Wales did that? Right? They're in the Super Championship rugby. They play good rugby week in, week out. Some of those players are absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunate end to the international career of Dan Biggar though, and maybe some few others, which I will talk about in another video. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up and you subscribe for that video to come. And look, speaking of other international careers that potentially have come to an end. Well, have come to an end. Johnny Sexton, New Zealand, beating Ireland 28 points to 24. Johnny Sexton, probably one of the best fly halves in the world, arguably in the Northern Hemisphere, retired from international rugby, and I think rugby in general as well. But yeah, look, Ireland, one of the things with Ireland versus sort of Wales is that their system is so good that how they play, but from the academies all the way up, is that you can plug in and play a fly half with just, you know, a smidgen of talent and they will be okay because of how that system is, right? Like there's a plethora, there is a long line of future Johnny Sextons in Ireland waiting to come through, and it's just a matter of time. We've seen it. When Johnny Sexton's not been available, they still play just like normal. They're still that good. But yeah, what a game. What a way to round off Saturday's quarterfinal, right? New Zealand just doing enough. And I was disappointed. I generally did think that Ireland were going to come away with the win on that one. But hey, the better overall team sometimes does not make it through, especially in knockout rugby. You can't obviously put anything past New Zealand. They are the All Blacks. They are New Zealand for a reason. They've been there. They've done it. And at the end of the day, they did enough to win. And they produced when it mattered the most, right? From losing to France in the initial opening game to absolutely putting on some beautiful performances in the pool stages, and then obviously doing enough in the quarters to see off Ireland. And they're going to play Argentina. I'm going to predict a New Zealand-South Africa final here. It's tough. I generally did think Northern Hemisphere teams were gonna show up, but unfortunately we have to rely on England, which is devastating. Anyway, Sunday got off to a rocker with a repeat warm-up game between England and Fiji, and like I said, I thought it was automatically going to be a Northern Hemisphere semi-final. So I was back in England on this one. I do think they had a little bit too much firepower, and then off the back of Fiji's loss to Portugal, kind of dampened their spirits maybe a little bit, and it just showed, right? Obviously there was some fight though. Fiji almost coming away with it, but I'm not going to dwell on this game too much because there's going to be a plethora of YouTube channels from the good, the bad, the rugby, and a few others that are absolutely going to be praising England's heroics and backing them probably now to win the World Cup here. But don't get me wrong, there were some moments of brilliance from both teams, and it was an exciting game to watch as a neutral, I'm not going to lie. But I am gutted for the Fijians, and I think this showing in the World Cup is just a start for them, right? Like, they're showing promise. I think if they join the Rugby Championship along with Argentina, New Zealand, South Africa and Australia, they're just going to grow from there. It will be interesting to see if that does happen. But I think over the next few years, we're going to see a Fijian side that are absolutely dominant in certain aspects of the game. But I'm curious because obviously I haven't done due diligence research on the Fijian side. I don't know like if Semi Radradra, Tuasova, Bottia are going to be around, right? And do they have the people coming through the ranks that can immediately replace them? I need to do some research on that. But there we go. I think one positive note for England. I think they found their superstar, right? And obviously Marcus Smith, especially at fullback, he played very well. I do like that position for him. And then Ben Earls, he's got to be their number 8 moving forward, right? He's still young. He just played very, very well, is what I'm going to say. And then rounding off the quarterfinal weekend, probably no doubt one of the best games of rugby I've seen in a while between France and South Africa. Talisman Antoine Dupont, what a difference he makes for France. There were massive ball carries, back and forth action, tries after try for both teams. But when it mattered the most, South Africa just knew what to do and they dug deep and hang on for the win, beating France 29 points to 28. Personally, I thought France were going to win this World Cup, especially at home, but it was not to be. The semi-finals are set, and the fate of the Northern Hemisphere teams now rests on England, who take on South Africa, and obviously New Zealand taking on Argentina. I am genuinely disappointed with the outcomes of this weekend, but such is the nature of rugby and the World Cup. Now, as a Welshman, we look ahead to the future. I've already said this. We've got a game against the Barbarians to prep for on November 4th, which I'm excited for. The URC is starting very soon, so we can see the future of Welsh rugby unfold. And then obviously we have the Six Nations. Rugby World Cup content will resume, and then I will transition. But for now, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for more content. Diolch and vow. We have hit 500 subscribers. Happy fucking days. Can't believe it. Who would have thought? Welsh guy in America, TikTok superstar. I'm just kidding. I'm not a TikTok superstar. Has hit 500 YouTube subscribers. Now we move on to 1,000. I look forward to it. Diolch and vow. Peace.